Well then, I'll tell you the first story. My name's Shindo Makoto. I'm in class 3D. Have you guys been to the old school building before? It's not in use anymore, but we've all been there at least once, right? It's off limits, falling apart, and creepy as hell, but it's perfect for adventures. It's even chilling during the day. When you walk on it, the floor creaks and feels like you're gonna go right through it, and it echoes, so it feels like someone else is walking right there with you. Then you turn around and you're all alone. We've all experienced something like that, right? No? How about you, Kurata? Have you been to the old school? And have you walked down that creepy, dim hallway? I have. I see. It's nice over there, isn't it? There are no people around, so it's real quiet. But did you know there are spirits there as well? It feels like there's something else there, right? Especially at the end of the long hall on the second floor, where the stairs lead to the third floor. There are all sorts of different stairs at different schools though. Why? Because there are mirrors. That mirror on the stairs landing is fishy. Listen, the story I'm going to tell you now is something I actually experienced. A story about the mirror by the stairs in the old school building. This took place a while back. A guy in my class by the name of Yoshioka said he had something he wanted to talk to me about. This Yoshioka was a solitary, gloomy kind of guy. It wasn't like we were close friends, so I don't know why he came to me to talk. What do you think he wanted to talk about? The mirror in the old school building. That's right. He suddenly started talking about that mirror. Then he suddenly pulled out this old, suspicious-looking book. He showed it to me. In it was a photo of a mirror. Apparently, it was a magical mirror that connected to the spirit world. Doesn't the mirror in this book look familiar? It's the same as the mirror by the landing in the old school, he said suddenly. I laughed. Like, it's a regular mirror that you can see anywhere. The mirror in the book and the mirror by the landing, they were regular old mirrors that you could get anywhere. It didn't have any special decorations or anything. It was just a cheap mirror. Ah, and this Yoshioka guy, he was a real serious dude. I know. No doubt about it. This mirror is the one by the landing. And it connects this world to the spirit world. That's what he said. I burst out laughing. I told him to give me a break and blew him off. Wouldn't you? But then he suddenly got real mad. You don't believe me. But I know. That mirror leads to the spirit world, he said, his face turning bright red and trembling. I was the one who was surprised. Like, I told him there was no reason to get that angry over it. Then he asked me if I wanted to go and see the mirror with him. He said he'd prove that it was real. I didn't take him very seriously, so I was like, sure, let's go. and nodded at him. As I went to leave, he stopped me. "You can't go now. I can't prove it until it's 3:33 a.m. and 33 seconds. If it's not then, the door to the other world won't open," he said, pretending to play dumb. Even I got fed up with him. I didn't pay him any attention after that. He didn't approach me again after that either. But then, what do you know? 3 days later, Yoshioka suddenly came to see me. "The spirits are strong today. On a day like today, we'll definitely succeed. I'll show you the proof," he said suddenly. His face was perfectly serious. At first, I didn't know what he was talking about, so I just stared at him. I didn't for a moment think he meant the mirror. Then he asked me to sneak into the school with him late that night. For such a straight-laced looking guy, he sure was bold. I'd never visited the school at night. I figured he was just joking, so I thought nothing of it and agreed. Sure. I'll be waiting by the front gate at 3 a.m., I said. He grinned, looking pleased with himself. And on that note, I think that was the first time I ever saw him smile. His first and last smile. I went home after school, and before long forgot about everything. Night fell, and just as I was thinking about heading to bed, Yoshioka's face appeared in my mind. When I looked at the clock, it was 2 a.m. If I was going to go, then I'd still be on time. Thinking of that grinning face, I couldn't get to sleep. But still, going to school at this hour was such a hassle. Not only that, but if he wasn't there, I'd be the one who looked like an idiot. I debated whether I should go or not. What do you think I ended up doing? You went to school. I guess I really did want to know more about it. I decided to go. The school at night was creepy. I wondered what I'd do if Yoshioka wasn't there, but he was. He stood by the school gate, ramrod straight, and staring off into space like a ghost. He was holding a torch. He swung the torch around when he saw me and approached. Even when he should smile at something, he didn't. Perhaps he was nervous, but his face was soaked in sweat, and he stared at me with a blank expression. I was waiting for you. We're about to see the spirit world, you know. Yoshioka himself was far creepier than any ghost could be. They say the spirit world appears in many forms. We won't know how it'll appear to us until it happens. As he said that, he took a dirty hand mirror out of the bag he had with him. One of those round mirrors girls use for their makeup. He flashed it at me. At 3:33 and 33 seconds, you gotta face the mirror you always use with the one by the landing. When you do that, they'll reflect each other, and you'll see something strange. But you won't just see it. Something might even come out. How exciting. He said all this with a blank look on his face, and didn't look even the slightest bit excited. The school is terrifying at night. The new school building is pretty creepy itself, but our destination was the old school. You understand how terrifying that is, right? Not even haunted houses are as scary as that. That Yoshioka was a pretty gutsy dude. I was pretty damn scared, but he just hurried towards the school like it was nothing. On and on he pressed forth through the dark school with nothing but a single torch in hand. I struggled to keep up. Even after we entered the old school, he wasn't scared of a thing. The squeak of the floorboards beneath our feet in the darkness seemed especially loud. Kee, kee, kee. It was like running fingernails down glass. We couldn't hear anything else. So it was like the sound pierced our ears. The smell of old rotting wood that you couldn't really smell during the day was also much more distinct at night. When we breathed in, the stench filled our mouths. We're here. It's almost 3:33, huh? He suddenly stopped and shone his torch towards the mirror. This was the spirit world mirror? What a joke. It was just a plain old mirror. That's what I told myself. If I didn't, I felt like the mirror might suck me in. It's 3:33. I'm gonna face the mirror to it. Listen, whatever happens, you can't be scared. Having said that, Yoshioka placed the makeup mirror he was holding in front of the mirror. What do you think happened then? It showed his face at the time of his death. I can see my face, Yoshioka said suddenly. Of course you can. It's a mirror. Why wouldn't you see your face? I was surprised, wondering what he was on about. The only thing reflected in the mirror was his face. That's not it. My face is purple. I read that book. If your face is purple in the mirror, that means you're about to die soon. And that purple face is what you'll look like when you die. His voice trembled. Don't be stupid. I looked at the mirror again. Yeah, his face in the mirror certainly was... Ah! I screamed before I could stop myself. Yoshioka's face had looked normal in the mirror up until that point, but without even noticing it, it had changed to purple. That wasn't a normal face. How can I put it? Like it was swollen, or it was the face of a wax figure. At any rate, it wasn't normal. I was so surprised that I ran. I had no idea how I got out of that pitch black old school building. But somehow I got out. I left Yoshioka there all alone. All I remembered was Yoshioka's voice from behind me. "Don't leave me here!" he screamed. Even so, I didn't even think about returning to help him. Not even I wanted to go back there. Still, I tried to overcome my fear and waited by the front gate for a bit. But no matter how long I waited, he didn't come out. Maybe he left via the back gate, I thought, and so I went home. By the time I got home, it was almost morning, and I didn't get any sleep. Sleepless, I had breakfast and then left for school. That was when I learnt. that Yoshioka was dead. The teacher on morning rounds apparently found him. He was lying dead in front of the old school building. I didn't know. I didn't know how he got out of the building, or whether he died in front of the mirror and somebody carried him out of the building. I had absolutely no idea. But apparently, he was tightly gripping that makeup mirror in his right hand. The glass was absolutely shattered. The next day, I decided to go to his wake. I was his classmate after all. We all went. He wasn't especially close to anyone, but if someone dies, it's still sad. All the girls cried. Then I saw something I shouldn't have. Yoshioka's face inside the coffin. Forgetting where I was, I screamed. How couldn't I? I mean, his face in the coffin was exactly how it appeared in the mirror. Then I might have imagined it, but just for a second, his eyes opened. He glared at me. Why didn't you help me? Why did you run away all by yourself? He looked at me with accusing eyes. Ever since then, I've been endowed with strange powers. It's probably a curse for leaving Yoshioka behind that time. Or maybe I've already become a resident of the other side. Either way, I'm able to tell when someone's about to die. Even people I've never seen before, when I see them on TV, I know. When I see them, their faces are purple. Then they die. That's right. Shall I look at your face for you? Your name's Kurata, right? Shall I tell you what your face looks like right now? Are you afraid that I'm asking you such a question? I can tell you if you want. Do you want to know? Tell me. I see. You want to know. Then I'll tell you. Don't be surprised, no matter what I say. And don't just accept what I have to say as fate either. Well, you see, your face... Nah. Even if I tell you, there's no point. Those who are gonna die will die, and those who are gonna live will live. If I tell you whether your face is purple or not, that's not gonna change anything. It's better not to know anything about your future. Plus, I don't know whether you even believe my story or not. Well, that's the end of my story. Who's gonna tell us a story next?